All right, guys, we are going to talk Browns real quick, and then we're going to hop back to the Cavs. And if you want to tackle NFL action, you can use FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, to do so right now. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Bull, start us off. Your shotgun reaction to the Browns getting embarrassed by the Saints in New Orleans, falling to 2-8 on the season.
So, man, there's so much to say about this. The organization it's disaster from top to bottom right now. I mean, think about it this year. The Saints are a terrible team. You've played now 5 games against other terrible teams, and you're 1-4 against the other teams like you that stink. 1-4. Their only win against their other bad teams they've played is Jacksonville. The rest of their schedule, you're playing teams that are all pretty good. Cincinnati's their offense stinks, and they're not playing. They're not very good. Miami's but they've been better with Tua. Besides that, you got Pittsburgh twice. You got Baltimore again.
What's the easiest game they have left?
I guess the Dolphins
Bengals.
at home.
They always beat the Bengals.
They didn't earlier in the year.
Just messing with you.
No, at this point, I don't really care.
You know what? It probably is Miami or Cincinnati.
It's Miami at home and Cincinnati on the road. I mean, and they're going to be underdogs in both those games. Maybe they're a slight favorite against Miami at home, but I doubt it.
Doubt it too.
This organization stinks. You've talked about it for the bad soil. Jimmy Haslam is a disaster. He is an absolutely hideous owner in every way. The front office stinks. The fact that they can't even tell you what Paul DePodesta's job is, they're cagey about what his job is. That's insane to me. Andrew Berry, it's been a disaster. Almost everything he's done has been bad. Everything points back to Watson. There's a group of people out there driving me crazy. They're like, I told you it wasn't just Watson. First of all, nobody ever says it's just one thing. But ultimately, the Watson trade is the biggest culprit in all this disaster because first of all, you acquired the worst quarterback in the league. And you had to give up 5 draft picks, I think it was, including 3 first-rounders. So where would this team be? We'll never know, even though it's irrelevant, but it has ultimately crushed the team. Jameis Winston, I thought, played pretty well, as I expected him to. They didn't score enough. Part of that is because the kicker, who had one good year, and then you decided to pay him, he'd been a mediocre kicker his whole career. He had one good year. The Browns, we got to extend the kicker. And now he stinks again. He missed, chip shot field goal after chip shot field goal. This defense is supposed to be so good. 35 points. They made Taysom Hill look like Michael Vick. Are you kidding me? Taysom Hill. The Browns defense played this game as if they'd never seen a gadget play ever in their life. Like that they didn't. It was almost like they weren't aware that you were allowed to do these things that New Orleans did. Ultimately, Kevin Stefanski and everybody else on this team is going to be fired. I think Kevin Stefanski's an okay coach. I have defended him to no end. But I got to say, and I saw Ben Axelrod, and I don't mean to kill him for this, and I've seen a lot of other people. I've heard Jason say this. I've probably said it myself. I think I have. If Stefanski gets fired, he's going to get picked up right away. Yeah, I don't buy that. The Coach of the Year award is a fraud. Everybody in the league knows that it's a fraud. It doesn't mean you're the best coach. You just had a surprise good season. Andy Reid's the Coach of the Year every year. Kevin Stefanski wasn't the best coach in the NFL last year. He did a good job with a team that was hurt. Kudos to you. It was a big story, and that's how you win these awards based on storylines. Kevin Stefanski's a perfectly okay coach, but it hasn't worked. It's 5 years. He's won 1 playoff game. He's had 2 winning seasons.
Did he win a playoff game?
Well, he wasn't there, but the team won a playoff game. This idea that they're going to be banging down the door to get Kevin Stefanski as the next head coach, I don't buy it. If I'm wrong, so be it. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. And again, I think he's the least of the problems of everybody that's not a player. But I think he got to start over again. And yes, I don't have a lot of faith that Jimmy's going to get it right this time. And when you have a bad owner, as they do, it's harder to overcome because that's it. You know, when you have a bad owner, you can't get rid of that guy. But it's bad. It can turn around in a hurry. You know, football's very year to year. So I'm not saying it's going to be awful for the next decade. Who knows? But right now, it feels like this team has zero hope. And all those years, the years of 0-16 and 1-15, it was to be able to get all this tanking for draft picks. And what have they done with it? What has Andrew Berry done with it? He has wasted almost every pick he's made. I don't know if I think we overrated the talent some. I think some of it hasn't been developed enough. But the bottom line is the Browns are just a terrible football team. That's it. It's plain and simple, and there's going to be a lot of people there paying the price.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I don't care about the Browns. They're a waste of breath right now.
They are.
So I don't, I had to text with our subscribers through the game, and I had a hard time even just coming up with anything. Like, there's just nothing to say about this team right now. The one thing I would say, I saw a lot on social media yesterday. I've heard it this morning about they quit yesterday. They quit. I don't think they quit. I think it was worse than that. It was 14-14 going the fourth quarter.
I think they quit in the fourth quarter. I didn't think they'd quit before that.
The issue to me isn't the fact that they quit. The issue is that they thought as an organization they were past all of this crap, and they're not.
Yeah.
And that's more disheartening than a team that quit, because if you quit, you can get rid of the guys that quit and you move on. It's not that big of a deal. This is deeper than that. And that's what's so disheartening, is they thought they were past this level of dysfunction, toxicity, whatever word you want to use. They thought that they had the right people in place, and they thought that as an organization, ownership learned their lessons from this. They've moved past all of that, and they haven't. We're right back where they've always been. They're 2-8. You're right. It does feel hopeless because of the quarterback situation, because of the cap sheet moving forward. There's just not a lot of reason for hope. So I just don't have a lot to say about them. I just don't care.
One of the worst things, when I said it at the time, one of the worst things that could have happened to the Cleveland Browns was Deshaun Watson getting hurt in the middle of the season, very early in the season. You say, what are you talking about, G. Bush? Why was that? We were excited about that. We got to see other. Well, no, because now when Deshaun Watson is taken off the board, there is a hardcore evaluation of every other aspect of your organization. So when Deshaun Watson got moved away, now people, after a while, after 1 or 2 weeks, they'll say, well, all right, cool, we'll watch the games. And now all of a sudden you got 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 games left to go. And now you can't run from those games. You can't. You have to look and call a thing what it is. Not only is your quarterback not good, maybe your coaching staff wasn't good. Maybe your talent wasn't good. Maybe the front office wasn't no good. Maybe the whole entire strategy was cooked, right? So now we got 7, 8 more weeks to watch this. To be honest, Deshaun Watson don't make people not cover a Wildcat play. Think about that. The Wildcat has been dead for 20 years. You can't run a Wildcat in high school. A professional team called the Cleveland Browns came out and let a gadget all-star and Taysom Hill run up and down the field. The Cleveland Browns missed 3 or 4, 5, 6 field goals, right? You're drafting kickers in the 4th round, and then you cut them because you find out they ain't no good, and then you go back and get them again and sign them to another deal. What kind of crap is that? You guys are jokes, man. And I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. You guys think that you have a pulse on what's going on. I sent Mikey a nice little poll. I set this up and I said, listen, you guys think that you guys can do whatever you want to and it doesn't matter. I said, well, let me throw this question out on my show. I said, if the Cleveland Browns, somehow they gave the Cleveland Browns another expansion team and they gave them their retractable dome downtown and kept it wherever they want to. And then they told them, you know what? I'm going to give you 3 first-round picks each and every year, the first 3 years of your organization. Then I'm going to bring Tony Dungy in or Belichick to be my consultants, not Paul DePodesta. I'm going to get Dungy, not DePodesta, and then I'm going to hire Mike Vrabel. I asked the question, point blank period. In that scenario, would you root for the new team or the old Browns as constituted? Do you know what? It garnered almost 1,500 votes. And all I got is diehard Browns fans. That's what I do. That's what I talk about. Do you know 65%? 65% of the polls said that they would legitimately strongly consider watching this new team rather than the old one. My thesis statement is you guys think that you got everything, the bull by the horns. You lost a whole generation of people during COVID. You lost a whole lot of generations of people. We lost, how many of our great Browns people have we lost? I go to BSK. We can go to Les Levine. We lost Jim Donovan. How many people have sat here and waited and waited their lives for you to do something only to revert back to what Jason said, this crap right here? Don't get it twisted. We like football. Football was born here. We don't like what you're doing, though. And the people be speaking. And I'll say this, and I'll throw it to Jay. And with politics around, and I did a scheme. And I said, listen, man, don't get mad at me. People told you that they're more worried about are you better off today than you were 5 years ago? Do you feel more safe? Do you have more money in the bank? Is gas cheaper? Is the price of tuition going down? If the answer is no, people make moves. Well, guess what? Are the Cleveland Browns better than they were 5 years ago? No, they're worse. So in that vein, chances are they're going to make moves.
What's really incredible, I like your hypothetical, but here's what Jimmy Haslam is saying as he hears it. He's laughing.
Right.
That's never going to happen, G.
Can't happen. I got the game rigged.
There's no way the NFL is going to put a second team here because there's something in our soil. So he is operating under the following premise. We're suckers. We're stupid. I can kick them right between the legs. They're going to come back next Sunday and say, thank you, sir, may I have another. That's what we've done. I've done it for 50 years. Thank you, sir, may I have another. Bull sent out a text. I think I saw it on our text chain. And I was like, Jesus, that can't be right. The Cavaliers have won more games in a month than the Browns have won playoff games ever.
Not ever, 75 years.
Okay, 75 years.
Yeah.
Ever.
They've won 17 ever. But in the last 75 years, they've won 14.
And by the end of this week, the Cavs will have won more games in the first month of the NBA season than the Browns have won playoff games ever.
Yeah.
How many playoff wins do the Steelers have?
They have 36.
See, Christmas.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And so Jimmy is a smart businessman. I keep hearing this defense of Jimmy. Hey, he spends money. Hey, he spends money. Well, what if you spent $5 million for a shed that had no roof? What then do you say about the person that spends money? You say, wow, he's burning cash. This is the same man that was paying 5 head coaches at one time because his decision-making is so poor that he kept firing them, hiring new ones, firing them, and he had 5 on payroll at one time. He spends money. I'll give him that. I wish the Guardians owner had his wallet. We'd have a dynasty. But that's not going to happen. And so he's so banking on us showing up next Sunday saying, thank you, sir, may I have another, that he's going to spend $200 million of his own money, $300 million of his own money to build Browns World.
Oh, more than that.
Out in Brook Park. I mean, who knows? I think he would like to get by only spending $300 million. May end up spending $500 million. But here's what that is. He's making an investment. What is that investment? His investment is no matter how much we suck, they're going to come. Mm-hmm. They're going to buy our silly jerseys that will be obsolete in 2 years. They're going to come and pay for our beer, and they're going to pay for parking, and they're going to pay for tailgating licenses. And now I'm going to get all of the money because I own it all. So Jimmy is making a calculated guess. No matter how much they suck, we'll be there. It's not a dumb bet because we've been there. Mm-hmm. And so he's basically saying, I'm getting rich on our misery. Think about that for a second. This man is By the way, how are the Milwaukee Bucks doing since he became owner?
Sabotage them.
Done.
It's kind of wild.
We were talking dynasty about this team, weren't we? Dynasty. What has happened to that team? I think the last check, they're 4-9. Everything he touches turns to shit. That's it. And you know, I've actually had people say to me, "Wow, Jay, you've got a sharp sword for this dude." It's our job. It's our job. If he was doing wonderful things, I would say wonderful things about him. But he's not, and I can't sit back and watch it. And I am glad to see this. I feel like the pendulum is swinging because I've been saying it for 5 years. Once I started hearing it from my colleagues at ESPN, when they were really telling me what is going on, I listened. Now, I can't unplug my fandom. I still sit down at 1 o'clock on Sunday and I say, let's go. But I'm not giving them dollars. Have it a long time, I won't. But I can't divorce myself from the orange and the brown, from the colors. Jimmy Haslam isn't the Browns. He is now. He's the guardian of them now. But I feel like the pendulum is swinging. I talked earlier about week 4 or 5 this year. I said, guys, I've never felt fan apathy where it is now. This is different. This is new to me. I'm feeling fans. I heard a lot of them yesterday say,
no, they checked out. I do
They're
all.
done.
I do all. Listen, people say they going.
But
they talking to their people. No, I really feel like there is a vacuum of Browns
It's
fans
starting.
that is like, nah, I'm for real this time.
I hear, but they'll be back next year.
We'll be sucked back
Yeah,
in.
they'll be back.
When we take whoever with the number 2 pick in the NFL draft,
Yeah.
we're going to be sucked right back in. I'll end it by saying this. How many times have we said, is it Baker or is it OBJ? Is it Joe Flacco or is it whoever? Fill in the blanks. How many times have we asked that question? When are we going to start asking the real question? Why won't this man sell the team? Until fans start a legitimate campaign for him to break us from our misery and chains and sell the team to someone who knows what they're doing. It's clear, guys, we've got enough. There's enough hay in the barn to know it's poison, okay? And there's been enough GMs, and there's been enough head coaches, and there's been enough quarterbacks, and there's been enough players. We're watching another blooming flower die in toxic soil. Myles Garrett, was he at the game yesterday? Did he make the trip?
Somebody had his jersey on. Somebody had his jersey on.
I saw 95 on the field. I didn't see Myles Garrett. It's another blooming flower dying in toxic soil. So until fans collectively, not pockets, until they collectively stand up and protest and realize what's going on, he's going to wash, rinse, repeat this offseason.
Of course.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
But the person that needs to be gone, he's still going to be there.
McNuggets.
And he's going to be cashing our checks.
That's right.
So it's up to you. It's up to the fan base.
It's got to be the worst team in sports per dollar in the history of sports.
Oh
Right?
my God!
Per dollar.
Hold
They
on,
spent more than anyone since 2020.
Do you guys hear that? That's Jimmy Haslam laughing.
I know it is.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
we're
listen,
not selling anything, man.
He won't sell. No. But if he's forced to sell, because you always say, well, you can't make the owner sell. Here's how you force the owner to sell. We collectively, as a fan base, say we are not going to do this exercise anymore. I'm not going to stand in front of you and let you nail me in my groin for another Sunday, another year, another season. We're wasting the careers. We're going to have the unique distinction of having 3 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame 30 miles down the road that have busts of themselves in Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, and Joe Thomas. And what in the hell did these 3 Hall of Famers that all overlapped, what did they win?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zilch.
And they have the common denominator is at the top, that it's rotten at the head. And I don't know that he'll sell. He probably won't because he's staring at Jimmy World in Brook Park.
Yeah.
And that will make them generationally wealthy for years. And
by the way, I heard if you have a personal seat license here, that's not going to carry
it will
over.
not transfer.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
No, it will cost you. And you know what?
Yeah.
His calculation backfires if, and by the way, I told you guys this in October, early October, because I had a very powerful money person here in town that told me he's not going to get this done, guys. He's not going to get this done the way he wants. He can do it, but he's going to have to write a mammoth check. This same person now tells me that with the recent events of the Browns going from playoff team to the laughingstock of the NFL, which is what we are, things are so bad that you might pony up for a new seat license if the team is 13-4 and making a deep playoff run. But think about the projection 5 years from now. A lot can change in 5 years, and I understand that. But do you trust these guys to fix it? Paul DePodesta?
No.
Andrew Berry? Kevin Stefanski? So it blows up in his face if he writes that big check and breaks ground in Brook Park and then hits us with the aftershock of the new prices, and we say, no, we're not buying that.
Mike's got to get a read in real quick just to put a bow on that.
Yeah.
Buffalo is going through this right now. They have Josh Allen. They have a playoff team. They're selling PSLs for $8,000 to $50,000 per seat, and people are buying them.
In a
in
similar
Western
type
New
of
York.
city to Cleveland.
Because
Smaller economy, smaller population,
Right.
smaller fan base, and they're flying off the shelves.
look at the quarterback, look at the team.
There's hope.
They have and they're 2 years out. They're 2 years out from opening their new stadium.
By the way, we could have drafted Josh Allen.
Which means that the Browns by 2027 are going to have to if they're going to do this. 2027 they have to start selling these PSLs. Good luck.
Why would anybody?
They're nowhere near ready.
Listen, I think we've all at times had a beef with Dolan and Dan Gilbert. Neither one of them is perfect. They have their flaws.
They do. You're right.
But for the most part, they've had
won.
winning programs.
They've won.
And Gilbert's won a championship. Obviously, he had LeBron, but the Guardians have been consistently good. If I'm a Cleveland sports fan, I get it. Football, for most people, is the most popular sport. I'm spending my hard-earned dollars on the Cavs and the Guardians, not on the Browns.
I agree.
We're going to spend the next majority of the show about those 15-0 Cavs.